every day there's going to be an announcement. Well, until we agree to terms, until Tyson Fury, which is who we're with, until he's happy with the terms, it won't get signed, and he's not happy at the moment. I don't know what Anthony Joshua's position is, because we've done nothing to do with that.
Give us an insight then in the difference between all parties being agreed in theory but not actually having signed, and where we are now. Like, why are the guarantees not what was expected?
Well, it's not the guarantee. What it is signing for the amount is a guarantee for the amount of money that's being paid, and until somebody actually, until there is until Tyson is satisfied that the money that's in that contract is guaranteed by a bank, then it ain't going to get signed.
So that's the issue. It's the source of the funds.
That's the main issue. Yeah, that's the main issue, and hopefully that will get addressed. I've not spoken about. I'm the first time been spoken about. But that's the crux of the matter. That's probably 85% of what it's all about.
What's good, family? Smash the like button and subscribe. So we just heard there from Frank Fish Eyes Warren, aka Frank Nemo Warren. Frank. Sorry, no, his name ain't Frank. His name's Finding Nemo Warren, no doubt. Anyway, we heard from Nemo. And listen, what can I say? Over the last X amount of time, over the last 6 months, and that mad, 6 months, I remember no joke here, I remember no joke. December 12th, AJ washed Pulev's Nifandaral Clark for him, pushed him all the way back to 20,000 BC where he belongs. Big Nifandaral looking ass. Anyway, pushed his wig back to 2000 BC, chilling with his Nifandaral dons. And after that, AJ said, Eddie, get it done. I want it done, wrapped up by December. We're now 6 months down the line. And Team Theory, still not satisfied. Now, I'll give you that background to tell you, man, that listen, I told you, man, last week, if this fight ain't announced, because listen, last week, Eddie Hearn said, yep, Saturday, you had all these goofy YouTube shills coming out. Oh, AJ's in Texas. Oh, Eddie Hearn gonna announce it. What did YB say? Oh, YB, better apologise. Yeah, AJ's in Texas, they said. I told you, man, listen. AJ ain't nowhere. The fight ain't happening. It ain't getting announced. Although, if it did get announced on Saturday, I'll admit I'm wrong. That said, what did I say? Monday night. Yesterday night was the deadline, in my opinion. If it doesn't get announced on Monday, yesterday, it ain't happening. 2-2s. No sooner than I said it. Fish Eyes comes out. Nemo comes out. Finding Nemo Warren comes out. Oh, well, Fury. The reason it's not being signed is Fury ain't happy. Well, what's changed there then, Frank? Innit? I don't get that. Where's the news here? Oh, Fury's not satisfied. No, SHIT Sherlock. That's what's been the case for 6 months. And clearly, Eddie Hearn's been shilling. He's pretty good at that, by the way. But anyway, Eddie Hearn's been shilling for Fury for 6 months. It's always been Fury. This fight, like AJ said, could have been signed in December. No doubt. 100%. AJ didn't say to Eddie Hearn, Eddie, get this done in May next year, 6 months later. He said, get it done. End of year. 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Because guess what? AJ's been locked in since then. And if you man don't believe it, or if you man believe this fight's going to happen, yeah, just look at AJ. AJ is very conservative. He's now tweeting, trying to pressure Fury. It's not happening, guys. I'm sorry, I hate to break it. It's not happening. And now Frank can reel out some excuse. Oh, well, Fury wants to guarantee and whatnot. He wants to bank and he wants the Federal Reserve to write a... End of the day, yeah. Whatever Fury's not satisfied with or whatever else, guess what? AJ signed the same copy. Does that make sense? So, and this, I wish there was some good journalists, because this Don here's a muppet. Didn't ask none of the good questions. In fact, let me do your job for you, boss man. The question you should have asked was, okay, that's the 85%. What's the 15%? Because these sneaky looking ass dudes, the 85% is the guarantee thing. Okay, but he didn't say, yep, Fish Eyes didn't say, it's all ready to go. We just need the guarantee. He said, slyly, 85% of the problem's the guarantee. Oh, there's 15%. So what's the other 15 then? This is what I'm trying to tell you, man. It's always something. If it ain't the guarantee, like let's not forget as well, Fish Eyes. When Deontay Wilder said, to Anthony Joshua 3-4 years ago, oh man, I got $50 million in the bag. I got $50 million in the bag. And AJ and Eddie Hearn said, we want some proof of funds. Because your man's not even breaking a milli. So your mans don't know nothing about 50 milli. So we want to see the escrow. That's what Eddie Hearn said. Because at the time, or even now, Wilder ain't doing multi-milli events. He was barely breaking $500,000 at that time. So on that basis, we want to know where you're getting 100x from. Because 500 grand times 100 is 50 mil. So if Wilder's coming out saying he got 50 million in a bag, 50 million in a bag, you ain't got 50 mil full stop, but in a bag. Do you understand? So we want to know where proof of funds are coming from. On that basis, Frank Warren, when Wilder offered $50 million, and it's all relevant. I hate to go on a tirade, but you know what I'm like. I love to talk. I love the sound of my own voice. Anyway, when Wilder offered $50 million in a bag, $1 million in a bag, and Eddie Hearn asked for proof of funds and escrow or whatever else it was, Frank Warren came out and said that's ridiculous because we're BT. Because by the way, Showtime, I believe it was at the time. Showtime was the one who were going to be, they were the network doing it in the US, and it was going to be BT Sports in the UK. Frank Warren said, well, of course the money's there. We're working with BT and whatever else. Obviously, that was never going to work because I believe at the time, possibly, AJ was locked in with Sky. But either way, Fish Eye said it's ridiculous for Eddie Hearn to ask for a guarantee or to ask for proof of funds because he's working with BT and Showtime, who have put on big events with McGregor or whoever else before. McGregor and Mayweather, Pacquiao, etc., etc. Now, we've got Eddie Hearn working with DAZN and Sky or whoever else it is, who have, by the way, done massive shows and clearly got the funding. They're throwing money like it's running out of fashion. And all of a sudden, Fish Eyes, the hypocrite, who was saying exactly to Eddie Hearn what is now, if that makes sense, he's flipped it around now. Fish Eyes was telling Eddie Hearn, don't worry about the money, it's there. We're working with big networks. Now, the boot's on the other foot, and he's saying it ain't there. But either way, I'm not even sure. This is the thing. Again, why I'm not sure, well, I'm pretty certain, in fact, they don't want the fight, is because Eddie Hearn don't operate messy. So you think AJ signed a contract? You think AJ's going to run in there? Do you think Eddie Hearn is going to allow AJ to run in there, and the money just not be there? Is that what you think? You think AJ signed the contract and happy to go? And Eddie, never mind AJ. Do you think Eddie is going to be sitting there on Sunday after the fight and have no money in his pocket? Because that's the only way that you wouldn't sign this, if that makes sense. Because AJ signed his half. So Fury hanging out implies that AJ and Eddie Hearn are happy to get mugged off. If you're worrying about you want guaranteed, you want to see where the funds are or whatever, that implies that Eddie would get mugged off as well. If that makes sense. That means everyone's getting mugged off, not just Fury. Because they sign, how it works is, everyone signs the same contract, if that makes sense. You just sign different copies. But it's all the same agreement. You don't have an AJ agreement and a Fury agreement. You're all agreeing to the same terms. That's why it's such a back and forth. You all agree, let's say, make it simple. There's Fury and there's AJ. Both Fury and AJ signed the exact same contract. AJ signed his half. Fury's hanging out. So whatever problems Fury alleges, AJ's locked into it. AJ's agreed to them terms, which can't be prejudicial against Fury, because whatever Fury's complaining about, AJ's already accepted. So unless you believe AJ's happy to get mugged off by some missing funds, it's unbelievable. That make no sense. And again, more evidence that Fury's hanging out. And people were telling me, oh, YB, it's all set up. Fury's in Texas to announce it. I said, listen, I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. Even Eddie Hearn said. Eddie Hearn was gassing everyone up on Monday last week saying, you know what, guys? I want to make sure there's at least a little bit of a surprise. And I can't even lie to you, man. Even me, I was rock hard hearing that. I thought, F and L. That sounds like it is done. He was like, yeah, well, I want to make sure there's at least a little bit of a surprise. Yeah, Saturday I'll tell you, but I hope there's a little bit of a surprise left. That in my mind meant that it's all locked in and we're going to announce on Saturday. Boom, Saturday comes, nothing gets said. At that point, no, it's not happening, in my opinion. Because how can Eddie Hearn be that certain it's done and it's not done? That's not how life works. You can't be certain you're going to announce on Saturday and not announce. Which means these people, Fury's team, are moving the goalpost every week. And eventually, which is more or less this week, you've heard what Fisheye said. Fisheye said, we've got a few more days. It's now Tuesday, by the way. It's now another day gone. We ain't heard nothing. A few more days. And I hate to say it's, another week. Is it this week? I don't know. But and that's why I'm not moving my goalpost. Really, like logically, I think if it's not done by this Sunday. But I said that last week, so I'm not going to move it. I'm going to stick with my guns here. But like I said, realistically, this week. If it's not, I can't believe I'm doing this. But realistically, like gun to my head, I'd bet on this week being the last week. But I said last week, so I'm going to go with this Monday. I said yesterday is the deadline. I'm going to half stay with that. But the other half of me thinks the end of this week. But who knows? You know what I'm saying? It just gets silly. End of the day, Eddie Hearn was adamant, 100% certain, had no doubt in his mind it was getting announced Saturday, as in last week in Texas. It didn't happen. Why is that? Fury moved goalpost. He's asking for things that AJ and Eddie Hearn aren't asking for. Proof of funds affects everyone. And I'm not even sure that they wouldn't have that anyway. You're dealing with the Saudis or whatever. They ain't tight up for cash. But I do, and I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, man. I can understand that the problem is, you see, Frank and Bob Arum haven't done any work, and that's the problem. That makes, you call it like a, what do they call, I think it's called information asymmetry. Information asymmetry is essentially where you've got different parties or different groups of people working together, and when you've got half of the group, so Bob Arum and Fish Eyes, they ain't put no work in. They haven't been in the mix. They don't, you know what makes sense? They haven't got the relationships because they've been lazy sitting around complaining. If they'd have been putting half in, everyone would have the same level of information. Everyone would have the same level of relationships. Everyone would have the same level of confidence, and therefore it moves smoothly. When you got two bum hating ass dudes sitting back and just hating and complaining and whatever else, it creates this, well, like you see now, people picking and knitting and whatever else. But really, how hard is it to get the guarantee as well from Eddie's point of view? To these people who are putting up, if you've got 200-300 mil to put up, that's change to you. The people who have got this 200-300 mil to put up, they'll have 30 bill sitting there. So it's a fraction to them. It's minor to them. Therefore, that kind of request, yeah, because they've got a $30 billion cash account, for example, showing 200-300 mil in a separate little thing, whatever, in an escrow, would literally be a phone call. Yo, they're asking for an escrow to be set up. That takes 24 hours. And on that basis, if this has been a problem, I assume this will have been a problem for a while. What's taking so long? Which, from Fury's point of view, I can understand that causing a problem. Because if you've asked for escrow, and these are meant to be big dogs, $30 billion dogs, 300 mil shouldn't be an issue. So, but I'm not seeing it. So I can see both sides here. If you've asked for escrow and they're still lagging, that is a red flag. That said, AJ signed it. But either way, I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth. We're not on the inside. Yes, of course, I've got sleeper cell dons, I've got people in the camp. But when it gets to this when we get to this level of specificity, I don't even know what the word is. But when you get to this level of specifics, you just don't know. And at the end of the day, I don't need to know. All I know is lagging. And I've just spent X amount of time explaining this whole situation, and that's only 85% of it. Does that make sense? And these are percentages that Frank's given us. In reality, in my opinion, the guarantee is just another, what do they call it? What's that word when it's just fake news? Or sorry, it's just a false flag. Yeah? It's throwing it out there. Oh yeah, no, it's that. It's guarantee, yeah. Picking at something. And I actually believe that guarantee thing's probably 20%. And the 99% is, Fury's backsides fell out. How about that? How about it's not 85% guarantee. How about it's 99%? His backsides fell out. Yeah? No doubt. And on that basis, Mr. 85, 15% and just don't want it. Moaning, complaining. And what really confirmed to me that this fight ain't going to happen is when AJ came out and started taunting Fury yesterday. That just tells me that AJ's begging for the fight. Eddie Hearn's told AJ, try and put pressure on him to get him locked in. and hence AJ's taunting. AJ isn't like that emotional and aggressive and whatnot. The fact he's doing that is to taunt Fury into just getting over the line, but the fact he's had to do that, show me an AJ fight before where he's had to. This wasn't the first time. AJ came out, I think, a month ago now, and taunted him a bit. When Fury was counting down, AJ said something then. Now Fury's playing games and AJ's trying to taunt some more. It's not going to do it. You either want this fight or you don't. Yeah? You either want it or you don't. It's massive amounts of money. And again, even if the money is confirmed there, it's going to be another thing. And I will be intrigued. I hope that some half-sharp journalist does their job and says to Eddie next time, or not next time, now I mean, I want to know from Eddie what his comments are on this guarantee situation, because in my mind, Eddie should say, if I was to predict, I reckon Eddie's going to say, they're lying. They've had the guarantee. That's what I think's going to happen, because I can't believe that Eddie's just pissing in the wind here and just hoping, hopefully the money will be there on Sunday. Which it wouldn't be, to be fair, it wouldn't be a stretch knowing how kosher the people are you're working with. But still, I just can't believe that. I can't believe if Fury's team asked a month ago for an escrow, I can't believe that Eddie is taking a month and whatnot. But if that is the case, then yeah, well, to be fair to Team Fury, I get it. Because that shouldn't be, you've either got the money or you ain't, kind of thing. And the whole principle is, if they're struggling to provide an escrow now, that's no good. The fight's in 3 weeks. If you can't provide escrow now, what's going to happen? It's no good me fighting on Saturday and Sunday. The same way you couldn't give me the escrow 2 months ago, now you can't give me the cash and the fight's been done. But again, we don't know the ins and the outs of it. And like I said, I don't need to know the ins and outs of it. All I know is it's not done and people are complaining. And that was just a guarantee. Then we've got the other 15%. Yeah, so it's all messy. Hella messy looking right now. It's not happening. Forget about it. Let's move on. You heard Fish Eyes as well talking about, we'll move on to you sucks and Alexander, you sucks and Joe Joyce. He's been doing way too much thinking about everything but this fight, to be fair. Joe Joyce going to be doing this and Fury going to be doing that. And way too much. Way too much hating, way too much everything else. He don't want it. No doubt. And I just hope the couple of days things materialise. Let's cut this fight dead now. It's not happening. Or don't. YB, you don't even want this fight. Get it on then. How about that? Yeah? Get it on and see if I don't want it. And finally, actually, I've just read my notes here. And Finding Nemo Warren says, Fury needs to be happy or he won't sign anything. And I'm going to leave you on this. Fish Eye says, Fury needs to be happy or he won't sign nothing. In what universe will Fury ever be happy having to fight 6'6", 250 pound Africanulese? The man who can answer that question is the man who'll get this fight on.